Hello, welcome to film number 5 of this series of the bones and belongings, the final mission to get Christian home. So I don't know how your week has been. We've had full moon this week, which has been quite overwhelming for a lot of people that I've been talking to. There's been so much energy going around, so I hope you've all managed to find your balance during the week, which I had lots of help with. Christian helped me a lot with that, so I'll tell you about that. Yeah, so the week started off quite in a strange way, not the way I'd expected it at all. So I had a conversation with one of my team on Friday, so just after I made the last film, and we were talking about this film, movie, documentary that I've visioned for probably about 7 or 8 years making, of our journey, and like now Christian's return in Bones and Belongings way. And I was saying that when I first started to get the touch from spirit, so I started to get this feeling in my back, like this warmth in my back, and I looked around on all the psychic sort of medium websites, and they were all sort of blue, sort of very dark with sort of rainbow sparkly things, and I just thought, oh, I'm very busy, and the energy just put me off straight away. And then I found a very white clear website belonging to a medium, and I thought, oh, okay, well, there's something here for me. I'm feeling more attracted, so I got in touch with him. And anyway, we had quite a few sessions, very far apart at first and then closer together later on. And in one of the and he had always said that Christian was coming home, and that was confirmation of my feelings as well, like that inner knowing that I was going to be able to bring him home somehow. So yeah, this medium confirmed it. And part of his what he was showing me was also that a member of our family, an older member of our family, would be helping us with the film. He also talked about a film, and that this person was going to be very involved in signing lots of contracts. He was going to get really involved with it. He was it was exactly his thing. And we identified that person as our Uncle Tony. Tony is my godfather. Anyway, yeah, Tony is in the film industry. I'm not going to give the game away yet, but not that it's a game. Yeah, so anyway, I was talking to my friend, but I was saying to her, unfortunately, obviously Chris didn't return as we'd expected in the physical, as this medium was kind of not showing me but leading me towards. There was nothing to say that Christian was dead, and he was obviously being given that information by his guides, because I wasn't supposed to catch on to him being dead at all at that point. Otherwise I've never have done any of this journey. Anyway, I said to this girl, it's on our team, I said, unfortunately, Tony is now in no way in a position to help us, because he'd been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And actually last week he'd been moved into a hospice. So I was just saying to my friend, oh my goodness, I don't know where this is going with this. But I just thought, oh, I don't know, we were just talking about it. Anyway, the next day on Saturday morning, I chose my cards as I normally do. I always choose a tarot card every day, just for like, what do I need to know today? What's going to help me, support me today? And it was the 3 of Swords. And I thought, oh, I wonder, because that's a grief card. That's essentially about loss, grief, mourning. And I thought, oh, that's a bit odd, because I know Christian returned to this, like he's fully released. And I thought, oh, am I grieving that? Am I feeling different? Am I feeling, because I know last week I talked about a bit of an adjustment. Anyway, I yeah, was kind of thinking, oh, I don't know, I kind of almost made myself sad thinking about you know, what this card was trying to show me. Anyway, I then had a shower, and often I get information when I'm in the shower. I don't know if it's the cleansing around around me, the energy cleansing being in the shower, but I just get lots of information. And Chris started talking about Tony, and the fact that Tony would be able to help us now. And I was like, what? I couldn't understand it, and I was my head was on something else as well. But I was just like, oh, okay, right, okay, I'll just take that information in, thank you. Anyway, about a couple of hours later, I got a message from our aunt that Tony had died that morning, and I'd been shown, you know, I'd really been shown 12 hours before having this at least 12 hours before having this conversation with my friend suddenly about the film and Tony's input into it, and then him dying. So I sat, it's a bit difficult talking about this because obviously this happened only last week on Saturday, Tony dying. It was expected, but obviously very sad when, well, yeah, of course it is. And that when I got the message, all I could, I was kind of like in shock that I already knew that it had happened, and this was just like such quick confirmation. And I sat down, I lit a candle. I light a candle straight away if I hear of anybody who's died, who's connected to me, whether it's family, family or friends, or friends of a friend, or, you know, anything. And I sat with this candle and had my moment of, you know, thinking about Tony, and he was the most hilarious person. And he was also an amazing photographer, and the best pictures we've got of Chris and myself when we were little is Tony's pictures, amazing portraits. And yeah, he told the funniest stories. He was hilarious. There's things I could tell you now that still make me laugh when I think about them. Really funny things as well with Christian involved. Anyway, back to the story. So I sat in my chair and with this big candle next to me, thinking about Tony and talking to him. And then I went back to read. I think my husband was sitting next to me, and he showed me something in the paper, so I was reading something in the paper. And then Tony suddenly came in to my left, which is my spirit, where they come in, the side they come in. And I said, and the first thing I said to him, I was like, oh, hi, Tony, whatever you do, please go to the light. Don't, because he was obviously here next to me. So he was still in the earth, in the physical plane. So I said, look, Tony, please go to the light. Don't stay stuck. That's what Christian did, although he didn't know he was dead. But like, please don't get stuck. Go to the lights, because you'll be that's where you need to go. You'll be free there. You'll be time spaceless. You'll be able to interact with us. Still, you'll be, you know, that's the place where you need to be. And I kind of, I said to somebody later on, it's almost like I almost forgot what I do, because I thought he would just go like the light, wherever that is. Anyway, he then suddenly, we had a little conversation, and he then came into my heart, and I thought, oh my God, of course I am to him. I am the light, because Christian's up there. Like, the way we work is that Christian is up above me, and he kind of helps spirits up. So the light is a chat. So we channel a light between us. it's like a bridge, and spirits move in to me and then up through the channel. And I just, oh my God. So Tony went up through me up to Christian. And yeah, it was a moment of it made me laugh, because yeah, I always forget what I can do or what I am. It was just reminded me. Anyway, so I then messaged my aunt and said, look, Tony's I think my family, some of my sort of extended family, they know what I do with Christian, but I don't know that they know what I do with stuck spirits. I don't think they know. It's one of those, it's difficult. It's difficult because I don't know how open they are, and I don't know how, it's just one of those things that I've changed so much in the last few years that it's difficult to know what to share with family. And that's why the importance of having like a community around you who know what you do, who you can speak freely with, and who support you. It's so important. Anyway, I just texted my aunt back and I said, oh look, Tony, Christian actually told me that Tony had died, and that Tony's now in very good hands, and sending them lots of love, you know, that kind of thing. And obviously I can understand, I can really understand the fact when you're in grief, you've just lost somebody, the last thing you kind of think of them is like you're happy. You can either think of it two ways, possibly the black and white way. There's lots of gray areas, I know, but you can either think, oh, thank goodness for that release, you know, they're now especially if it's been a cancer or something that's you know, they've been in pain for a long time, or you know, you're like, it's a release out of the physical body. Or if there's been on the other side of it, there's been a real traumatic death, a sudden death, something like Christian, something like an accident, something like yeah, okay, I'm not going to give details because there's at the moment there's a few around, but it's just like, it's almost like, how can they have ascended when all this mess is left behind and we're in such grief? And so I think there's an element of like how you feel about a loved one actually going into the light, because when they go into the light, when spirits go into the light, there is this there is this release for them. They're not in their physical bodies, they're themselves, their soul selves, spirit, and without containment in a physical body. And that's quite difficult sometimes when you're in the physical, to be like, well, they're all right now. We're not, we're left with this grief, this mess, this whatever. So it can be I can understand both, you know, all the aspects really of it's difficult. Yeah, without saying too much, I can understand the emotions that are involved in sudden loss, and from the spirit side as well. And obviously our focus is on the spirit side, is the releasing of the stuck spirits, and training, awakening and training other people who can support these stuck spirits, because they are a large number in scale, massive. For example, there's a massive backlog. We had somebody from a spirit come through from 1802. They were born, they couldn't remember, a lot of spirits can't remember when they've died or how they died, but they remember when they were born, like a date, so we can work out, you know, we've got spirits coming through at the moment from a long time ago. Actually, probably the time when that's kind of like the time when Mungo Park actually was off on his travels into Africa, so sort of 200 years ago. Yeah, so they're large in number, and it's a solvable problem. Like, we have a solution for releasing stuck spirits. They don't need to be stuck, they don't need to be staying there. And also, it's like they're neglected. They are neglected. Nobody, we need to have thousands and thousands more rescue mediums working. And that's part of the Ray's legacy. I mean, that's part of Christian and myself. That's part of our that's our passion, that's our purpose, that's what's come out of this, of our journey, from releasing Christian. It's this real need for more rescue mediums, or soul rebirthers, whatever you want to call us. But Ray's is certainly, like, now a hub for that work. Yeah, so Tony, Christian and Tony are now working on, of course Tony can help on the film, on all of that now. He wasn't going to do, like, the medium kind of not got Christian wrong, but it was a different perspective. So Christian obviously had to die to return home, and Tony has also had to move into the spirit realm to be able to do this work with us. So yeah, it's really interesting how that's happened literally around the time when Christian went off to Africa 20 years ago. So this 20 is important. Anyway, so that's the kind of movement on Christian side, I guess. So I'm again leaving all this, the film stuff and the bones and the belongings, like, in their hands now. That's nothing for me to do. I'm, like, delegating. It's interesting, last week we had Isis's card of nourishment, mother of life, nourishment, and it feels like every need is being fulfilled now. Like, I'm being really nourished here, and the film and the bones and belongings are like, that's all juicy and being worked on over there. In this side, so I was talking about the full moon, and that was quite overwhelming, and I've got lots of projects, creative projects, expression of our journey, and so part of the film is part of it. But there's another very big project which I'm working on, which is a multimedia publishing. I don't want to give too much away because I've just got clarity yesterday, really, truly. And I was feeling overwhelmed by it. We have so much resources, we have so many things it felt like a kind of like shoehorning into something. So, and yes, I've joined a new business group, and everybody was feeling overwhelmed as well this week. There's definitely full moon energy, and lots of illness, and making you forcing you to stop and reflect. And we hate being forced to stop and reflect. So I think I was in the shower, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm really overwhelmed by this. I can't. And I was very focused on myself and my problems, which to me is always a sign where, if I catch myself, I'm like, oh, okay, stop, because this isn't my problem. This is not just my problem. This is everybody's concern, and everybody can provide with the solution if we work collaboratively. So yeah, I was in the shower, and Christian suddenly came thing. He was saying, like, shall I help you with a meditation for that? And I said, yeah, that would be great. Talk quite a lot still. In fact, quite a lot this week. Anyway, so I sat down. It was actually during I then did a meditation, and Chris showed me this meditation, which is basically finding clarity. It's clearing everything that's unnecessary around you and having a very clear horizon perspective, and inviting what you really need to know, like what is really important, not just all this day-to-day stuff that we get overwhelmed with, like what is really important here. And he also towards the end of the meditation, the lions came in again. So the lions are certainly in Rays, we work with lion energy. This is in Cozy, and he represents the lion energy and Christian, and the African sort of shamanism that we have been working with. I had to find some way of finding Christian, and that was the way that was shown to me. So the 4 lions came in: the lion of fire, the lion of earth, the lion of air, and the lion of water. And they provided the balance and the harmony. And that meditation I actually recorded and gave to as a gift into the Rays community. So if you join the Rays community, you can find that meditation. Anyway, so that helped me with this calming and this real clarity, and my third eye was buzzing. It was like real connection, intuition, really opening myself up that it's not my problem, it's from all corners I'm going to be helped in these projects that we're working on. So yes, that meditation is available for you. And then also I was out walking the dogs with a friend, and one of she is a dog walker, so she walks other people's dogs, and one of the dogs she walks, we saw, it was just behind a gate, and she said, oh my goodness, that reminds me, this lady who owns the dog, she's in her 80s and not able to walk this dog. It was actually an Alsatian. And she said, but she's a healer. And I had a chat with her the other day, and talking about me, saying, oh yeah, my friend's also she's a healer and she works as, and the woman immediately said, I think Christian had been mentioned, Christian disappearing and what have you. And she turned around, and my friend said, she said deadpan, she said her brother's still with her, he hasn't gone. And I was like, when my friend told me this, I take that as a real confirmation of what I know, and that would have been Christian's way of providing confirmation of him still being around from an outside source who knows nothing about us. So that was also part of the grounding this week. So I've had the meditation from Chris, and I've also had this message from another, that he is still around, which I know, but it's nice to have confirmation of these things. So the whole full moon is I was calmed by it. Chris definitely helped me through that, and it felt like a big shift. It's really felt like a big shift, this new moon. Yeah, as I say, I'm in this new business circle, and we had a collaboration masterclass this week, which was amazing timing, and we've also had a writing workshop as well. So the collaboration is so important. We don't work in isolation at all. And if you're watching this and you're working in isolation as a healer, as a rescue medium maybe, or spirits are starting to be attracted to you, like, please collaborate. Don't do this on your own. You will be being drawn in for sure. You need to be held to be doing this work, and that's something that I yearned for, and I really wanted support when everything was happening for me. I didn't know what was going on. I had no mentor, I had nothing. It was frightening, actually, the first interactions with spirit, and what is this, what is going on? And it was only when I asked out loud for help, I was like, please, somebody, I can't do this on my own. This is frightening. I need to find Christian, but this is all frightening and I don't know what's going on. And then slowly mentors, people I would meet out, like a lot of people who came in to live in our village. We've got quite a lot of rental property, and there's quite a transient population that come in and out, and lots of them have been helpful to me in terms of healing. One lady in particular was a shamanic healer, and she just lived up the road, and I hadn't met her all the time she'd lived in the village until I'd asked for help, and then she appeared. Yeah, so that's really important to have that collaboration and to support each other, and to like have accountability as well, and to share. We have our weekly meeting as a team, and everybody always says, oh, I don't know if I've got anything to share this week, but it's just nice to be here discussing and bouncing ideas off each other, and you just get regenerated by talking in the group that we have in Raise. Yeah, on the another thing that I must mention, and anybody who's been around with us for quite a long time will understand. Oh, and look, she's here. I went for a dog walk yesterday. I walked the dogs 3 times a day, so I'm always out with the dogs. But yesterday morning I went across the field, and it was raining, and it was quite foggy, and I walked up the hill, and it was quite slippery as well because we've had rain. So I was kind of concentrating on the ground, not slipping. And as I looked up, I actually counted them. There were 36 Canadian geese across our pathway on the field, just at the top of the hill. And they turned around and all looked at us. And the dogs were off the lead. And one of them in particular, he's a German pointer, and he's a hunter, you know, like he would, if they were deer, he would have been off after them. But both of them, and I've got a Labrador, both of them stood there and just looked at these geese. Now geese, I have my goose here. Canadian geese always appear when something big is going to happen. Always. It's like the real flight. They start to take flight. And this morning I had 3 ghosts. They were on the other side of the hill, and they took off and were very low over our heads. So we had 3 going over this morning. So they literally start flying, and they are a sign to me that stuff is really beginning to happen. So we had 36 yesterday and 3 this morning. So all the 3s and 6s and 9s are also our number as well, but I'm not sure I'm going to see 99 of them somewhere. But yeah, so, and there's just so many new seeds being planted this week, but I've also had to be very the words that came through were sort of gentle sensitivity, like being very gentle this week, and being aware when my energy was overstimulated, and spirit had too much coming at me, and it was very much a gentle, calming week, but a very productive week, like all these for all of us in Raise, actually, in the team. Lots of things that we've been working on for probably years in the background, that we've got ideas for, that things that are we've kind of been visualizing and knowing are going to happen. They are suddenly all the little threads are suddenly tying in together, and opportunities and situations coming. So I hope that's happening for you. If that is happening for you, and you're feeling like if you're a healer, or in the spiritually connected, spirit world connected, and you've been kind of having ideas about like gathering with others, or like all these intuitive hits are really beginning to or the pathway is becoming much, so it's all being funneled down into a clearer pathway, then yeah, you might very well be part of our Raise team. And we're starting a course very soon. It's going to be an 8-part course, and it's basically going to take you, if you think you might be part of the Raise team of rescue mediums, it's going to be a course to bring you into the circle, into that inner circle, into the team. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I shall be putting information about that out soon. I don't think there's anything else to say this week. I'm going to be doing another my third level attunement with the Sekhem energy, which is I'm calling it the lion love energy. So we're on, that's the third level 3. So I'm slightly no, I'm not concerned. I'm excited because every time I level up, something amazing happens, and I feel like I'm ready now for the next one. I think that's just about everything. Oh, the other thing I had was another meditation with Isis, the goddess Isis, who is my original mentor and is still with us. And obviously I use her oracle cards. And it was a cleansing one. There's been a real cleansing week this week. And it was handing over to her everything. Again, this overwhelm, handing over everything to her that was not mine to carry, that was my clients, was my people around me, friends around me who are going through grief at the moment. That was releasing all of that. So, and it came back that the light is very, very bright now. It's been cleansed, so, which is always a good thing. So I feel like Isis has been, that nourishment card has been, I've been really helped this week, really helped to navigate all the energies and all the potential overwhelm that was coming. So let's see. So I wonder if you had any nourishment last week, like on reflection. Doing these films is so good because it makes me look back through the week and really notice what's been happening and have real gratitude for what's been happening, because I think the more grateful you are and the more you recognize and you thank spirit for their help, particularly in my case, and it just gets bigger and bigger. The support that you receive is greater and greater, and that nourishment, I really feel I've been nourished, and I've looked after myself as well this week. I've been very aware of not being overwhelmed by too many meetings. Yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a good week. So let's see what, oh, hang on. Let's see where we're going to go for the week ahead next week. So I'm just going to do another card from Isis that we need on the bones and belongings mission. What do we need to know about the week ahead? What will support us? Oh, enter the chamber of healing. Healing in the divine chamber of the Lady Isis. Oh, now that's really funny because I was going through all our resources and I found a film of me in a few years ago. I looked so different on the screen a few years ago. I look much more lighter now. And the card I was showing to the screen then was this, and I was saying, oh, how does that dark entrance, how does it feel for you? Are you like, oh my god, I don't want to go into that chamber of healing? Or are you, right, I'm ready to go into that chamber of healing? Like, it's the unknown, isn't it? What are you going to find in that chamber of healing? But that's obviously where I'm going to go this week. Okay, I'm ready for it. Well, yeah, I'm ready for anything, if that's what I need to do, because a lot of the time I was saying about cleansing this week, and particularly with that Isis, I feel like I've actually done part of that already this week, with the Isis meditation, that cleansing, taking things away from me that weren't mine, and before you have any new beginning or any new any leap forward, there has to be this cleansing, there has to be a healing, there has to be endings. And yeah, it's all part and parcel, it's all part of the journey. There's nothing bad. It's just what you have to do. And it's always a release, and it's always a relief and a release when you have to do the healing. I would never have got anywhere near, well, Chris and myself would have never have got anywhere near, we wouldn't have moved anywhere if we hadn't done healing. And you have to do it repeatedly. It's not like you suddenly heal something and then it's gone. You maybe, we always see it as like layers. You work on something that's ready to be released, but then there's layers of healing that need to happen. So I'm just going to read the main message here. It says, a spiritual gift of healing is coming to you now. Be open without expectation or preconceived notions, and allow the healing from the Lady Isis, Mistress of Magic, to help you find the best solution for any situation that does not appear as it should be. Take your time and create space into which her magic and energy can flow now. Expect your miracle. This oracle comes to you as a messenger. Prepare for great changes because they are on their way now. Okay. Healing happens most powerfully when there is space, openness, and allowing. We let go for healing to flow. Time in sacred space will help you receive the inner adjustments that you need for the healing magic of the Lady Isis to be able to reach you with full boldness and genius. Okay, well, we'll see again with the, if I've got another attunement, there could be all sorts of healing going on in that as well. And who knows, I shall report back next week. And if you feel like you're also going to enter the chamber of healing this week, let's do it together. Okay, I think that's all we have to say this week. Yeah, as always, subscribe, like, leave your comments. If you've got any questions, we'd love to interact, and we'll see you next week. Okay, lots of love. Bye-bye.